Rise and shine, everybody. It's time to wake and bake with Craig Reed and Griff Martin.
Stoned Roadie Show, podcast 227, Wake and Bake the Morning Buzz, episode 104, October the 2nd, 2024, action. Alrighty then, fellow earthlings, looky here. My name's Craig Reed, aka the Stoned Roadie. And this is my co-pilot, the rocket scientist, Griff Martin. And we had a really good show there last couple of days ago there with Mikey Sparks. And I talked to Mikey yesterday, and he said he watched the podcast and enjoyed doing it, and still thought he had a few more things to talk about. So he said he would come on in couple weeks and we'd do a round two. I know there's a lot of comments in the comments section asking for Mikey to come back, and he said he'd come back and do a round two here in a couple weeks. I talked to him and he's got some more stories to tell. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. People said that was the best one we ever did, and it's kind of wild that it wasn't really consumed by a bunch of the original Lynyrd Skynyrd band, but it sure had a lot of things that happened with all the members, because Mikey was good friends with everybody and he talked to everybody, and they all told him stories of all the stories that I've tried to tell, but I got brain damage and I was an alcoholic, and like Mikey said, he didn't drink, so he's a little more conscious of things that went on. But enough jibber jabber. We'll have Mikey on in a couple weeks, and Kathy Ghazi will be on in a couple weeks too. But we just wanted to do it a little acknowledging of some donations we just got here.
Yeah, right.
I was meant to talk about a couple of these a couple of days ago, but we had that 2 hour and 40-minute podcast with Mikey, and we kind of got sidetracked. But Bradley Muth donated $100 to the Forgotten Survivors Fund, but he asked that I give 50 of that to Griff for his to help.
Wow! Thank you, Bradley. I appreciate that, man. That's nice of you.
Help fund his on the road with Griff Martin expose. He did a couple last week, and then Denise Soares, I guess Soares, yeah. She donated another $25. She just sent in $50 here just a couple weeks ago.
Wow, thank you there, Denise.
So she sent in 4 different donations, and then what's oh my gosh, I can't think. I'll think, but sent this to us, and he went to he's been talking to Artimus, and he went to an Artimus show and actually got Steve Jones. I'm sorry, Steve.
Yeah, Steve, he's a cool guy, man. Cool guy.
Yeah, he donated that T-shirt that we
and to get Artimus to write the Stoned Roadie show on there, that's how the hell did you do that, man? Put a comment in there how you did that, Steve, because we didn't think he liked us, man.
But
that was pretty good. We like it when people can go around and do things that don't seem to be like they can be done.
Yeah. But this is a double DVD. It's got the Freebird the movie, which consists of mostly my films that they made the movie with, Freebird the movie, and then it's got the tribute tour in there, and I'm also in that too. Not that that means.
So you just want somebody to write in, make an offer on that, Craig?
Yeah,
Yeah, put your thing up with your email up there so they can see.
yeah. So
and yeah, that and we got some other stuff too. I've got Kent Griffith sent this, which is signed by Lynyrd Skynyrd, the coach. It was a little newspaper clipping that he had for his daughter, Kayla. And anybody wants that, that's got Lynyrd Skynyrd's signature on it. Make us an offer. Thank you for that, Kent Griffith. And Brian Bodkin donated this new old stock blue book that Gene Odom wrote, and I just took it over to his house and had him sign it and put a little thing in there to thanks for the donation. And then this is an original Gene Odom blue book, which send us an offer for that. And I got a few things I need to unload. I got this cross here that's made out of Hell House dock wood that I made, and then I took it down to the jeweler, and he put a sterling silver chain on it, and then I got Hell House necklace, a little vial with some Hell House wood in it. So you guys interested in that, I'll put my email up right here so you can see where to contact me and make an offer on that stuff. So I'll make an offer and then go to podcast 225 at the end. And Gene Odom, I did a little on the road with him, and he's selling a guitar that's got a Dean Kilpatrick engraving in the back of it. It's a really nice Guild guitar, acoustic guitar with a Dean Kilpatrick carving in the back of it. And then he donated some Hell House wood, and I'm probably going to just slice that wood up and sell it, and put a letter of authenticity with it. And so, I hadn't figured out how much I'm going to charge for that yet, but I haven't seen anybody really blowing my email up wanting to know about it. I think that's something that you ought to jump on because there's not making any more Hell House dock wood. So yeah, those kind of things some of that kind of pays the bills for on the road, and the rest of it, a portion of it will stick towards the survivors, and like that book that goes to Gene, and we'll put this in the kitty for everybody. And then Craig, that DVD, I guess that gets donated to everybody.
Yeah, that goes to everybody. Yeah.
And there's the contact for Craig. You can either contact Craig or me, and let us know if you're interested in that stuff. Man, this is Lynyrd Skynyrd stuff, and they don't make it anymore. So jump on it.
And then we got this vest here that I've been showing the last couple weeks. It was donated by my nephew when Billy Powell was out in rehab, and it was signed to Joe. Best wishes, Billy Powell. It's a Bill Blass. It's a nice quality vest, but it's a small. Like I said, it's made out to Joe. So
yeah, and on this fat flat earth, it's hard to find somebody that doesn't wear anything but a large.
So yeah,
or an extra.
So, all righty. So, well, I want to send my condolences to our friend Dawn. I know there's a lot of people through a lot of tragedy, but our friend Dawn, she was down there at Griff's function down there he had in Lakeland as an MC type person. I guess your master of sonar or whatever she was, but she just bought a house 2 weeks ago, and she was so proud. She just moved into her house, and a dang tree fell right through her dang roof down there where all that stuff's happening. And she's down there, and she got a big half her house is cut in half, and her electricity's out, and she can't really go nowhere to a hotel or nothing because she's got uh, pets, and hotels don't allow pets. So her life's pretty much devastated for the next year. That really
Yeah,
sucks.
she's
But man, I seen Doug Grape had posted a thing where there was somebody with a whole house was in a mud flood, and the whole house collapsed on a whole family, and they lifted up this wood, and there was this family of people underneath this house buried in the mud, and they were alive. One guy
yeah,
was
there's
buried. I don't know how he survived. He was buried.
I think there's a couple hundred people
Crazy.
missing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
That's crazy.
my old farmhouse is right up there in Burnsville, and that's right next to Asheville. And they say Burnsville got hit even harder. And I got a feeling my old farmhouse is probably gone because it was right by a creek, a pretty fast flowing creek. And I got a bad feeling I don't have to call my old neighbors up there and see if mine's gone, they're gone. So it's really bad there.
One man they had in the hospital, and he was in the hospital, and he said him and his wife and his daughter and his dogs and everything said they were all together, and all of a sudden they got separated and washed away, and he don't know where they're at.
Really?
Yeah. And then there's like hundreds of dogs missing, and yeah, that's crazy. I was thinking about, man, if that happened to me, I I'd save my dogs first. I'd be right with my dog.
I mean, you don't know what to do, just like you were saying.
Oh
You think that the
God.
mountains are the high ground. That's where you could
Yeah, yeah,
go.
it's 300 miles inland, and it's at like 2,500 feet elevation. That's where people, when there's a hurricane, that's where people go to be safe.
Yeah, that's
But
crazy.
that
Yeah,
dam was there, and well,
but well, you don't expect them to manipulate the weather and, cause catastrophic flooding because of a election.
yeah, it's this is getting ridiculous. Somebody to me should be charged with murder doing all this stuff, all this
Yeah.
weather manipulation. People need to fry, man. These Democrats that are doing this stuff, they need to fry. They need to be publicly hung.
And
This,
now
this is ridiculous. They're
you
killing. They're
got,
killing. They killed all those people in the trade center. They killed all those people.
yeah, that was all
They killed 3,000
orchestrated.
people. Them damn Democrats killed 3,000 people up there, and you people still want to keep them in office. You people are mentally ill, man. I mean,
Right. Yeah,
wake the hell up.
do your
Jiminy
homework.
Christmas. Wake the hell up. You people are freaking mentally ill, man. Can't you see what these people are? They're sick. God Almighty knows what they've done.
I
Oh
got a
my,
feeling too that I mean, we haven't even mentioned turning COVID loose and the vaccines and all that, but
that's
now I
millions of
think
people they've killed. They're trying to. It's
yeah,
crazy.
now they got that strike going on with the shipping, and
Yeah,
I think that's there's like probably about a 10-legged plan to derail this freaking
that's
election,
that's
and
gonna
it's
take a
all
couple of weeks for that
why
to.
is all this stuff happening, Craig, right around the election? It sure is suspicious, isn't it?
Oh man,
That's
not to me,
why
it's not suspicious.
Craig and I kept saying, people kept going, "Hey, let's have a concert in
Yeah, you
September,"
got to go to the
and
monument site. I'm
yeah,
not leaving here. God
well,
Almighty,
we don't want to.
October 15th to about the 25th, all hell is gonna break loose.
Yeah, and we don't want to tell people don't go to the monument, but I'm going to take. I might go. I'm probably going to go, but I'm going to take a look. I have a backup plan. Have a plan that, and probably, quite frankly, the monument would be the safest place to be because you got a lot of gun carrying good old boys down there, and they're on Dwayne's property and all that. You're pretty safe. You ain't have to worry about too much. Uh, And we're going to talk about a little bit about the monument thing coming up. But I tell you what, if I'd have gone up, Craig, if I'd have gone up to Miami, Oklahoma, and that thing would have rolled through there, I went through one hurricane, followed me up to Miami, and then when I came back, it was still raining. Then right after that, here comes this other one. So, I mean, I went right through all that mess on the first one. But yeah, some crazy stuff going on. And then we lost Pete Rose and Frank Fritz, the guy in American Picker. He died. That kind of made me sad. I liked that guy. He was like really he was what made that show. I think when he left, it kind of sucked. I don't know. Is it still on? Is that American Picker still on, Craig?
It's on sometimes, I think. Yeah, they got all kind of.
Because I think that is because Chad said if you kick the bucket, he's going to have them come down there and go through your house.
That's what Tanner said.
Yeah, Tanner said that. He goes, I wouldn't know what to do. I'd have to get American Pickers in there.
Yeah, he wouldn't have any idea what's in here.
Yeah, and I haven't watched the debate yet. Have you, Craig?
I've got the channel on where they're going to be talking about it.
Yeah, well, last night they had the debate, and Craig and I had either one of us watched it yet, so we're going to have to catch up on that and see what happened there and see what else we got going on here. I had a girl text me or left a comment on Facebook and said that she saw a Trump rally and they played Sweet Home Alabama.
Really? Wow, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, Tanya Marie says, hey, I saw a Trump rally and they played Sweet Home Alabama. I guess maybe it was in Alabama. I don't know.
Wow, yeah, that's cool.
That's kind of crazy, huh? So that kind of debunked the they won't play any Skynyrd music at a rally thing. And then we like to continue saying prayers for Johnny Van Zant. That guy's going through hell, man. What he's had to deal with his daughter, and I think he was up in Canada when he found out about it, and he had to go all the way back to Florida thinking about that crap with his daughter having, a brain tumor and not knowing was it cancer. And say some prayers for Johnny Van Zant and his family, Lisa Van Zant. Those guys really getting hit hard, man. And we want to make sure that because of all the stuff that they do, we want to make sure that everybody says their prayers for them, cover them, because they certainly, they go through, they've had a lot of bad luck with family lately, and so a lot of prayers going out to Johnny Van Zant and family. So gather around the wagons and say the prayer. And let me see what else we got here.
And also Ryan King.
Oh, Ryan King. Yeah, Ryan King.
Yeah, he got in that accident and
broke his neck.
Yeah, he's got a lot of extra hospital bills coming up and stuff, and anything we can do to help him out would be appreciated.
Yeah, and Gene, he's been going through some stuff. He doesn't have, he's got Medicare, but he's only got Medicare and VA. And so he says, that stuff that he's trying to donate, he says, he's turning it into stitches. Because I said, I bet there's that doctor's cutting all that cancer out. He's probably taking your skin and making a lamp out of it. Because he's got scars all over him, man. Every week they cut another hunk out, he's got a little prostate thing going. I need to call him and find out how his CAT scan went with his prostate. So you guys say prayers for Gene Odom too, because he's kind of going through a little bit of stuff. And then I'm going to go over all the stuff next podcast, probably on the monument, because I hear I hear there's going to be 5 survivors there. I don't know how that's going to happen, but that's what I hear. So I'm going to make some phone calls and see if I can't get some more skin information on that. So, you got anything else, Craig, before we jump into some comments and
No, no,
questions?
no. Just roll right into it.
All right. Yeah, okay. And then right off the bat here, we got Carol, the cake girl. She says she was talking about, that Tuesday's Gone story. She said uh, she didn't realize that, that was about Alan. I mean, Alan's wife, Kathy. I guess he went out there on Tuesdays, was his time to stay at the Hell House, and something happened. She was out there and they got in an argument or something and hauled ass, and Ronnie wrote a song, Tuesday's Gone, right? And that what happened, Craig?
Yeah, it's something to that effect. Yeah, him
Yeah.
and Kathy
Yeah,
had gotten an
she
argument.
says the fact that he kept playing it, now every time you hear that, it's kind of haunting because, when Alan lost his wife, he played that for like you said 8 hours he played it. Yeah. If anybody missed, if you're watching the Stone Roadie show for the first time, go back and watch 226 with Mike Sparks. Man, that's one of our best ones, and he's got a lot of really good stuff on there. And we're going to bring him back on, and so we're kind of going over what we talked about on that. And then Steve Jones, the guy.
Get you a bowl of popcorn before
Oh
you
yeah,
start
it's
watching.
long.
It's 2 hours and 40 minutes long, so you might get hungry before it's
Right.
over.
Yeah, a lot of people say they were watching it and, a little bit, and then they would go do something and they watch a little more, and that's how you got to do it with that one.
Kathy Gozzi said she watched it twice. She called me and she goes, "Boy, that was a really good podcast with Mikey." She said, "I watched it twice." Well, she didn't watch it the first time. She listened to it in her car the first time, and then she had said, after listening to it, I had to go back and watch it.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy, man. And then yeah, Steve Jones. I thought Gary wasn't with Alan when he heard Kathy passed away. Mike said he was on the jet with.
I didn't think he was either. That surprised me. Yeah, but it makes
Yeah.
sense that Gary would have went with him. It makes sense, but I didn't remember that part.
Yeah,
It
so I
makes
mean,
sense, I'm sure, because Gary, get back home real quick, so.
yeah, and then he's jumping up trying to open the door on the plane and I imagine that was pretty rough riding with Alan Collins, a maniac when he found out his wife died. That's some hard to do, man. That guy, he's unpredictable as it is. And then you throw that load of weight on him.
Yeah,
Uh,
he confirmed those stories about Alan grabbing the wheel and smashing on the gas pedal.
yeah, he's in the Alan Collins car club. Yeah, there's a lot of people in the Alan Collins car club. If anybody else is in the Alan Collins car club, we ought to have a T-shirt made up. I was in the Alan Collins car club because what that means is you rode with Alan Collins in the car, and if you rode with him in the car, you're in the car club
He was
because yeah, he would try to stomp the gas and pull the wheel
It was a treat, yeah.
and I asked Mikey, I said, "Did he try to hit the gas?" He goes, "About 10 times." Yeah, so yeah, and then Steve, he says, "I was surprised Ed and Artemis didn't like each other." He says, "I thought it was Ed that told Ronnie Artemis would fit right in." Well, maybe he didn't know him that well
Well,
at
Ed
first.
Ed actually was kind of the person that actually got Artemis hired, but Ed was so determined to get rid of Bob. That was his main objective at the
Yeah, that
time,
makes sense.
just to
Yeah.
get rid of Bob, because he said Bob didn't have any meter, man. When Ed wrote the song "I Need You," he wouldn't let Bob play on it because he said he didn't have any meter, So then he had that Parker, I think his name was something, his drummer buddy, and I don't remember if he played on the song or not, but I don't remember who played drums, but there was a big thing about it. Ed didn't want Artimus to play on there because he didn't have any meat.
That was probably the song that, because Joe Crimp told me, he goes, man, he goes, I'd go out there and ride my horse at the Hell House property while those guys were practicing. And he said he'd hear Ronnie whistle and he'd go, oh shit. He knew what that meant. So he'd ride his horse up there and Ronnie'd go, get in here and show Bob Burns how to play this part. And he said he didn't feel comfortable, jumping on Bob Burns' drum set and, trying to play something, making it look like Bob didn't know what he was doing. And he said, I didn't feel comfortable with that. A couple times Bob would get upset about it, and blame Joe for it. So
I remember one time when Bob was having a real hard time getting a part, and they were trying to explain to him how to do it, and he was having a real hard time with it. And it didn't, to me at that time, it didn't seem like it was that difficult to pull off, but Bob just couldn't get it.
Yeah, and then Steve Jones says that podcast was number 1 and Pops was number 2. And Steve Jones has got his favorites there. They threw Paul Abraham and Mike Estes in there. They were put that one into the top 3 or 4 or 5. Could you imagine like sitting down, like going to a party or something, and you got Mike Estes, Paul Abraham, Mikey Sparks, and those guys all Pops sitting around and you're bullshit. I mean, you'd have a Skynyrd overload with all those guys there. I mean, we've had them all on the podcast, and those guys are just chock full of information.
I liked when Mikey said Craig wanted to keep hitting that guy in the face, but he said there was snot all over his face, and Craig threw him a towel and told him to wipe his face off so I could hit him some more.
Yeah, somebody in here commented on that. You didn't even remember that until he mentioned it.
I didn't even. Well, I remember that part. I remember me and him fighting. But, I remember when he knocked the door. He said something to the door, and I went, look what you did to this door. And he goes, that ain't shit. And he hit it like that, and the whole inside of the door busted out and hit me right in the face. And that was it, man.
Was that at the same, that was when that happened?
Yeah. I said, look what you did to this door. You're going to pay for this door. This is bullshit. And he goes, fracking this door. And he hit it like that, and the whole insert of the door would come out and hit me in the face. And it was on at that point.
Well, he was raising hell, keeping you awake to start with.
I was in the bus asleep because I slept. If we had to get up at 6 in the morning and get up in the hotel and sleep in the hotel and get up at 6 in the morning and go out and get on the bus, I just sleep on the bus. So that's what was happening. Ronnie and Dave Pennells was partying, and they came in all drunk. Man,
yeah. I don't know how the heck anybody would work on the road with Lynyrd Skynyrd with all that shit going on. I don't think I'd ever get a minute's sleep. I'm a light sleeper, and trying to sleep on a bus with some drunk son of a bitch coming on there, and then all the different things that happen in that rock band that, people beating on the door. Do I have a friend? And, shit like that all the time going on. Boy, you're young, you can get away with that stuff, but I'm thinking about it now. Mike DC3, listen to the tribute tapes. Ed was right. Artimus was playing like shit. Did you notice Artimus was playing like shit, Craig, during the tribute?
He didn't really play all that much. He was supposed to just be playing percussion. He had a whole percussion, tambourines and all kind of percussion stuff set up. And he wasn't really supposed to be playing the drums that I remember. But then Cuss said, well, no, that's not right, because he played drums on the old stuff, Saturday Night Special and stuff like that. And then as it kept going on, they kept taking songs away from me and telling Custer to play them, and it pissed him off. That's what Cuss said.
And then Mike DC3 is getting a little uppity here and says, "Why do you keep cutting him off? Let him effing answer." And I guess he's talking about me. But what you got to remember, man, is, I've got to control, the format of these interviews and things. And sometimes people are easy to interview and sometimes they're hard. Mike Sparks is a cakewalk to interview. The only problem with him is he's is spewing out just skin formation at an unregulated amount, and I had to slow it down and control it. So, hey, man, that's you don't like it, come on here and do it the next time. Let's see you do it. But but I do the best I can, man. I do the best I can. Joe Mueller, I watched the podcast from start to finish and kept wanting more. And then one time, Mike goes, "Are you guys still there?" Because he looked up and Craig was gone, like he is now. Remember that, Craig?
Oh yeah, you were kind of just sitting there like frozen, just listening, and I was out of the picture. And he said, "Are you guys there?"
Yeah, because you didn't really have to ask many questions. He was, there were things that I would, I had in mental notes in my mind that I wanted to talk about, and then sometimes when he would talk about something, I felt like some people might understand what it was, some people might not. So I wanted to go back and clarify a little bit more on it, because not everybody, is up on all this skin formation like some people are. So, but yes, so Craig, and we don't know if Craig smoking weed is taking away our monetization or not, but he just drops down like that just in case. And we did get monetized on that last one. So,
there was one that we didn't do anything on, and we didn't get monetized. And the only thing was, I had a Trump 2024 sign behind me, and that must have been it. So
might be.
I'm not going to show that anymore, I guess.
Yeah, so it's hard to say. But on the one that we did where I was on the road up in Miami, we really wanted to get monetization on that. And then the one with Mikey Sparks, we really wanted monetization on that. And we did get them on both of them. So we're happy about that. So now we can go back to screwing around and losing it. We don't care so much.
Well, I still want to get monetized on these. That's how, we make money for them people. We could be making a lot more if we get a lot more subscribers, but they keep dropping them. We're hanging right around that 2,225 mark. They don't want to seem to let us.
Oh, it's 28 now.
More than that.
It's bumped up a little bit, Craig, a couple hundred here recently. But for every 4 subscribers, they take like 1 away for some reason, and then they unsubscribe people. I don't know what's going on with it, but we're kind of fighting against it, and they're not making it easy for us. I don't know. They don't like our content. Probably a lot of it has to do with the fact that, we're Trumpers, and that's not a good thing to be in this freaking biased world of liberals. Trip Crewy said something really cool that I remember a little something about. He said, "I saw Alan Collins at Brassey's in Cocoa Beach. Great show." I kind of remember because I was living there, and I remember Brassey's. Brassey's was a place that you'd go to, and they'd have what they call nut and bolt night. And when you came in, they had a bucket full of nuts and a bucket full of bolts. And the guys would take a bolt and the girls would take a nut, and then you would go around and you would try to fit your bolt in the girl's nut. And if that was how you got to talk to the chicks, was you went around with your bolt, try to see if a nut would fit your bolt. And I guess if it fit, you went to the hotel.
I think that one at Cocoa Beach, I think that's the first time that I actually ran sound for Alan Collins' band, because it was just me and Mikey, and we didn't have a sound man. So we just had to have somebody out at the board that knew what the album was supposed to sound like. So I just went out there and all I knew was you kick up the drums and you kick up the bass and then you mix everything behind that. And I just came out of the studio and I was used to hearing them studio monitors. When that bass drum hit, you felt it. So I was trying to emulate the sound you get in the studio, and the guy that ran the PA system went, "Are you high?"
And that's kind of crazy, because if I could, go back in time, and go down to Brassey's, knowing that you and Mikey and all you guys were there, and I'd go in there and I'd go, "Hey man, Craig, we're going to have a podcast together one day, and Mikey, you're going to be a guest."
I'd say, "What the hell is a podcast?" But I'll never forget, after that show was over, some guy said, "God, that was freaking great, but it was freaking loud."
Yeah.
Or he said, "Man, that was loud, but it was great too."
That was probably
like
Chip
that.
Cruey. That was probably Chip Cruey, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you could feel it. Yeah.
Chip, man, you don't remember Craig up there screwing around? I mean, come on,
I was
man.
out at the soundboard, running the soundboard, yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've spent a lot of time in that Brassey's. Yeah, it was a great place, man. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that remember Brassey's. Palo Vincent. Craig, were you able to get weed into Japan?
Yeah, I got it in there. I had weed in Japan.
Yeah,
Well,
you
no,
put
I
it
had
in.
hash. I had hash. We couldn't find any weed in Europe, and so I had some hash.
Yeah, didn't you say you put it in some speakers or something?
Well, I had it in speakers, but I think when I went into Japan, I had it in my guitar. No,
Man,
I
if you
think I did have it in the speakers. That's when that was those Japanese guys that looked in the back of the. I had a portable stereo system, and I had it in the back of those speakers, and that was Japanese guys that was looking in the
man,
back of the speakers. Yeah, yeah. If I'd have got caught with that shit, I'd
oh
probably still
God.
be in jail over there, like Brittany, what's that, Rhines or whatever her name is? There's a
Well, Paul
basketball player.
McCartney got busted in Japan with some weed, and they were going to put him under the jail, and somehow he got out of it. I don't know how he did, but
I had a
it was
shitload of hash, yeah.
yeah, they're serious about that stuff.
Hell, when I got back to the States, I still had a bunch left.
I had a buddy who he went into the army, and he was in Germany, and he said, when I get over to Germany, he goes, I'm going to send y'all some hash back here. And so he sent me a postcard and he said, "Hey man, it's coming." And so I went out to the mailbox, and there's this big thick envelope, and I go, "Oh my God," and I opened it up, and it was a big wad of hash in there. And I was like, damn man, it's a good thing it made it and I didn't get, caught with this. And then about every 2 weeks, here would come another envelope. And I was like, I had to send him a postcard and said, "Man, stop that shit. You're going to get me freaking thrown in jail." It must be cheap over in Europe, huh, Craig? That
In
hash?
Holland, yeah, yeah, in Holland. I don't remember if it was cheap, but I bought a whole big old.
Yeah, because he was sending me hash. Like every 2 weeks, I was getting this big, thick envelope full of hash, and I was getting freaked out, scaring the hell out of me. Me and my buddy Jay, we kept, he was, we laugh about it now, but back then it wasn't funny, man. It wasn't funny at all. Let me see here. David Hester. I really liked the podcast, had to watch it in segments. Loved the beginning of the podcast talking about Artemis in the Marines. Yeah, that's the thing, man. Mikey Sparks, I mean, he knew Artemis in the Marines. Who can say, that was before Artemis did anything. And
Yeah, he said
Mikey,
Artemis was all squared off or something
yeah, he
like
was
that. He
squared
was a
away.
real true Marine, and they loved
Yeah.
Artemis because he was a real true Marine. Yeah, he was all
Yeah, he was all squared
he,
away. He had
he squared
everything.
away. Yeah, he was playing the part. Yeah.
Yeah, he was dressed up real nice and said he didn't know how to work on airplanes, but he knew how to talk shit.
Well, they messed with him being named Pyle, man.
Yeah, oh
They
yeah.
He made sergeant though, so it's probably what enticed him to do good because he didn't want to be a screw up being named Pyle.
And I had a couple people call me and go, "Man, I can't believe Mikey said those things about Artemis. Artemis is going to be mad at him." And I said, "Well, if anybody knows Artemis better than anybody, it would be Mikey. So I think he knows what he can and can't get away with."
Well, it seems to be the situation that happened, and he pretty much explained it pretty
Yeah,
eloquently, I think, if that's the
yeah.
right word, But I've always said that Artemis never would never do that, and Mikey kind of clarified it, and a lot of anybody that knows Artemis, agrees that he could. But yeah, he said he didn't have any choice. It was either take a chance of spending a lot of time in prison or take a plea deal. So that's what he
Yeah.
did because
And he
nobody
didn't
would.
he didn't have a lot of money for lawyers and things,
He spent it all trying to on the
Yeah.
lawyers. Yeah, they railroaded him, man.
And those defense for the state, they're brutal, man. They bring all
Oh
kinds of,
God.
like he was talking about when he was washing his kids off the sand off of them and stuff, and they
Yeah, yeah.
turned that all around and made it look like some shady crap going on. And so yeah, that Mikey, man, he knows Artie, he knows him, and all that did was just clarify that that Artie's innocent. And so it was good. It was good that he went over that. And I really think Artie would probably, you know, would like the fact that he took up for him, which he
I
did.
did too. I thought that was real good what he said, but
Yeah.
yeah, when you told me about it, I went, I don't
Yeah.
see a problem.
Yeah, that's why I asked Craig. I mean, should we edit that out? Because we didn't want to piss Artie
I
off.
don't
And
see.
Craig
I
was
don't.
like,
Th- I
no, man,
thought that was
because
good telling that story. It clarifies it. It kind of shows his innocence.
then Chip Cruey says, I was at the Great Southern Music Hall, and he says, let me see, had oh he went there to see, because all he knew was that Alan and Gary put a band back together, but when he went in there he had no idea that Billy and Leon were going to be part of it, so it was like a bonus for him when he went in there. So I guess a lot of people, when those guys formed the band, they didn't realize that it was going to have a lot of the original band members in
It
it
had all the
with them,
original people
yeah.
except for Steve and Ronnie.
So he
Yeah.
said, yeah, he said he went to two shows, and he had front row seats, and they were both great shows, and he had great seats. Uh, that had to be an excellent concert there, Chip, to see that, man, with
Well,
those guys all, you know.
it's like we talked about a little bit on the pre-show. We were talking about the flood, and I goes, "Yeah, Bat Cave, North Carolina, it's basically wiped out." And that's where we rehearsed up there for Washington Collins when they very first put the band back together. Artemis knew some guy up there that had a mansion, actually a log cabin mansion up in the mountains up there where these I think I've talked about before, where these pot growers lived up there. And huge, big mansion, log cabin mansion, and that's where we rehearsed up there.
Then you had to haul ass before you had a
Yeah, there was a
snowstorm, right?
snowstorm coming. If we got snowed in there, we wouldn't have had any way out until till they dug us out. And yeah, we just got out of there in time. But
Was that before you went on tour?
yeah, that like I said, that's right when they just put the band, the Rustin and Collins together, and they were just kind of trying to write and stuff. And that was before Artemis got hurt. So
That had to be pretty cool. I've never heard you tell that story before. So, yeah, that Bat Cave, that's right up there near Asheville, right up there near Burnsville. And
it's gone,
Earl,
man. That place is wiped out now.
and I had Chad Lane, Six Gun, and Zach Lane's dad sent me a text and said, "Hey, man, are you all right?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm fine." And they were closer to all that mess than I was. I mean, Irwin, Tennessee is just right down the road from Chad and them, and their power was out for 12 hours. So it affected them. So I'm happy to see that they were away from all that because they've got a lot of water up there too. And that whole
Well,
Kingsport area, you got that Watauga River and lake and all that up there. That could flood, man. And there's another tropical storm with a big rain thing coming this way again, and they're worried about it. So,
we haven't even talked about Fort Myers.
oh yeah,
And I have a friend in Bradenton, and she said she got about 4 foot of water and had some damage, but it wasn't nothing significant. Well, she lost her car. Her car was in 4 foot of water, and she had to get another car.
hey, you have an ex-wife there, huh?
That's who it was. Yeah, in
Oh yeah,
Bradenton.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
ex-wives all over the country, don't you, Chris?
And then my sister lives a little north of there up in Beverly Hills, Florida. And she's like north and west of there. And she said, we just got a little bit of rain, nice little rain. But,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
what key, that one key right along Bradenton there, Longboat Key, didn't that place get devastated or something? Didn't it?
I'm only like an hour and a half away from that whole area, and I got a lot of wind, a lot of rain, but I didn't get much of anything. I didn't even lose power. I was very glad too because
The Tallahassee area really got
oh yeah, they
smoked, I
got
guess,
slammed.
there. But yeah, that's a mess.
And we still have another 2 months to go, man, with this
Well,
hurricane
there's
season.
people that aren't going to have power up there for a month or two.
Probably, yeah, I'd
It's
say.
crazy.
And Biden and Harris aren't doing a damn thing about it. I
Well, they
did
caused
see
it.
I did see old Trump was tromping around through the water up there, and I
Oh,
thought,
that's a phony picture.
is that
Yeah,
phony? Because
yeah,
I was
yeah, it's
saying he
funny.
wouldn't do that.
Oh no, that's phony.
That
Yeah.
had to. Ain't no way Trump is going to get out there and tromp around in that water.
I love seeing it just tickles me to see the pictures of those people on that space station with them women and their hair all hairsprayed, and it's hairspray.
Yes,
If it was really a hair under anti-gravity, it would move around.
I'm
And
glad I'm still not working out there because from what I know now, since I retired, I'd be grabbing those astronauts and I'd be going, "Hey, man, is there a curvature? Are you guys faking that space station?" I'd probably get fired bugging them, because it's a good thing I'm not there anymore because there's a lot of stuff I got questions about, and I
well,
don't. I think I
you said you saw that space capsule and it looked pretty cheesy.
Well, I saw a lot of satellites and payloads. I know that there's not gravity up so far, and there's satellites up there. There's no way they could be faking all these satellites up there. Ain't no way. I watched them launch them. I watched them load them in the cargo bay of the space shuttle. I watched them load the astronauts up. I watched the rocket. I rolled it out to the pad. I watched it take off, and I saw the scorched and burnt metal after it took off. So I know there's rockets going up. I saw one thing they said, yeah, these rockets are bullshit. They're not really launching. Oh yeah, they are. I've got some damaged bolts with the heads burnt off of them and stuff. Yeah, that's very real. Very real. Those rockets are definitely launching, and there is space. Now, is there a firmament above it? I don't know.
Well, all that stuff with the space station with them women with their hair sticking straight up and it ain't moving, that's fake.
Yeah, that space station could, maybe be fake, but they were launching pieces of it. I many a time went into a clean room to do some maintenance in the clean room and seen pieces of the space station in there. They were prepping it, working it. They had to keep a purge on it. We used to have to work on all the equipment that purged it, and it's just no way that they didn't launch it up there. I'm telling you, man, it's real. There's a lot of stuff that I don't understand.
Well, supposedly NASA gets $66 million a day to run the space program. That's a lot of money there.
Yeah, they get like 18 billion a year, something like that.
That's a lot of money that somebody's manipulating.
And I remember, that space shuttle was $3 billion, and I used to drive it around. There was a transporter, and you had to go through all this training to be certified. You had in the cockpit, you had a driver and you had a leveler, and you drove it from the orbiter processing facility over to the vehicle assembly building. And I remember I was backing out of the OPF, and there was this guard there, and he had an AK-47, and I go, hey, man, if I decided to go right instead of left and got out on the highway with this space shuttle, what would you do? And he goes, are you going to? And I go, no, but if I did, he goes, I'd have to guard you until they told me to shoot you. So yeah, I used to drive that thing around, man. I drove around a $2 billion or $3 billion spaceship. It had the wheel in my hands, making it go, and it's scary, man. It's scary.
Well, top speed ain't but a mile an hour, is it?
Well, on that particular transporter, no, it was a little faster than that because that was like on a road. Now, the crawler, when you loaded the space shuttle on the crawler and you hauled it out to the pad, it's a 0.8. It's not even a mile an hour. It's a 0.8, because they say if you ever hear somebody say, oh, the crawler does 2 miles an hour, that's bullshit. It can do 2 miles an hour, but with a payload on it, a rocket on it, no, they never take it above a 0.8 mile an hour because it is shaking. And the vertical stabilizer on it's going like this the whole way it's going down the crawler way. It's just shaking like crazy. It's an awesome sight to see. But after a while, I don't care what it is. Just like Lynyrd Skynyrd, Craig. You see him every day, and you get so used to it. It's like everybody else is, wow, how cool. But you've seen it so much, it's not anything to you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I finally got so sick of it, and then when they started trying to make me take that COVID vaccine, I told them, I said, I'm going to have to quit. You guys ain't going to jab me with that crap. Well, you're going to lose your job. And I said, well, at least I won't die. So, Chip Crewy. Steve Pitt, a 2.5 hour sensation. New stories I have never heard before. Yeah, that was a long podcast, but we didn't want to stop after we got the bulk of it out, and I didn't want to part it up into 2 parts. It's a lot better if we get it all in one and we get monetized on that, and then people can just watch it in segments. So. We like to keep them all in one.
We got up to about an hour and a half, and I was about to go, wow, we we need to finish this pretty quick. And then you said something about the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, I forgot about that." And
Yeah, that's
we went
another
about
cool
an hour
story.
past that.
I mean, who the hell finds a Declaration of Independence in a thrift store and puts $250,000 in their pocket?
On lambskin. Mikey said, as soon as you seen it, you knew it was real. It was on
Man,
lambskin. You
how
know?
crazy, the guy,
And they
freaking
made
guy.
they made 200 of them. But can you imagine you buy something for $2.48 and you sell it and have to pay $150,000 in tax?
Yeah.
And then he had to pay 80 some for the fee. Yeah, he got about half the money.
But
Yeah.
back then when he did it, 250 grand.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of scratch.
But that's ridiculous. Have to pay that much tax. That's insane. I mean,
that
is insane.
But I tell you what, though,
screwed.
If that happened to me, I wouldn't be laying awake at night going, "Those son of a bitches." I'd be going,
I know,
"Damn,
but
I got 250,000."
That's just stupid. For
Yeah,
the government to do that. That's
Did he auction it at Christie's?
No, it was a private auction thing.
Private auction.
I always thought he did it at Christie's, but no, he found a private auction thing, and then I guess they had to send it off and get it cleaned and everything and get it in pristine shape. Yeah, but
then Fuckna69, that's his username. Fuckna69. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's not a woman. That's the first time I heard about Tuesday's Gone. I'm glad Alan's night wasn't on Thursday. That's hilarious because it would be Thursday's Gone with the Wind. Pretty funny there, Fuckna. Yeah, we'd be running around in the grocery store singing Thursday's Gone with the Wind. Oh, hell. And Cake Girl, I hope you got monetized because there were tons of ads. Yeah, what I do is I exercise in the morning. I go to this lake in Lakeland and I walk around. I make them skippable. Yeah, and I listen to the podcast, and sometimes I'll be listening to the podcast and I'll hear when it's in there editing and it screws up, and I'll have to call Craig and I'll go, "Pull it down, Craig, pull it down, man, it's screwed up." And he'll go, "Oh Lord," and he'll pull it down, and I'll run home, I'll re-edit it, and then send it back to Craig, and he'll get it back up. And yeah, that's happened a few times. But yeah, I did notice when I listened back to it, there were quite a few commercials, but I like it because that means we're making money. So whenever you see commercials, we're making money for the survivors. So I don't know if listening to the commercials makes us more money or if clicking off. I make
them skippable.
Yeah,
but people say that they know that if they watch the commercials, we get paid more, so they watch the commercials. But I do make them skippable.
I don't know do we get paid more if you watch them?
I think you do. Yeah, I think the more you watch it.
Well, we actually have Trump commercials on our podcast.
Yeah, that's what you said. So that's weird that they would take us down for me putting my Trump thing behind us. But they make it so if an advertiser doesn't like Trump, that that's a violation. You're not, even though pot is legal in Ohio and a lot of states, it's not illegal in a lot of states. So if you're smoking pot on camera, they would not take it kindly, I guess. I don't know. You're not allowed to do anything that's not appropriate with some advertisers.
Yeah, so instead of hiding behind something, Craig just drops down below the screen now. So
yeah, so you guys that were betting on how many times I hold up the "Sorry, I'm not stoned" sign. Just whenever a guy called me wrote me this morning. He goes, "Man, I love your podcast. Is there any way we can talk on the phone sometime? And I just, yeah, so I gave him my number and he called me. And he said, I said, did you watch this last podcast? He goes, no. But then after the day went on, he watched it and he wrote back. And I told him about me fading in and out of the thing, and he said, "That's funny." He said, "It looks like you get in an elevator and take the tape, and you root back in."
Well, you don't have to hold anything up. You just take your remote, and then you just.
But I did that because
Kathy, down like that.
We got the same cameras. Yeah. Yeah, Kathy, when Kathy Ghazi was on, I was trying to show those pictures, so I showed the picture and I just pulled myself out of the picture so I could show the pictures. And I says, wow, that's better. So I'll just do that from now on. He says, well, you can see the top of your head.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to do that than hold the "sorry, we're stoned" thing up. Then Fuckness 69, man, dude, you got to change. That's really bad. Because I got the 69 wrote beside it, and it's kind of like, spooning each other, the 6 and the 9. Lloyd Noble Theater, Norman, Oklahoma. Alan threw his guitar down and walked off the stage. I was there. Why would he do that, Craig? Why did he just throw his guitar down and walk off? Why would he do that?
I don't know.
Was he mad about something or what the hell? Why would he do it?
I don't know. I don't remember. Hell, when Mikey was telling all those stories and I didn't remember a bunch of those, I was just as messed up as Alan and Gary. Me and Alan and Gary were really good friends. So I was whatever they were into, I was into it just as bad. Well, not just as bad as Alan. Alan was a mess, but yeah, I was right in there with them. So
do you think he would just say, screw this, and he just throw his guitar down and just jump off the stage? And
yeah,
what do you do? Do you stop the show or do you give?
No, they just kept playing, and we would go. Me or Mikey would go and say, "What the hell's going on, Alan?" And we'd trying to, get him to finish the show. We go, God,
yeah,
you gotta
Mikey said
you gotta finish the show, man.
Yeah, because Mikey said you wouldn't get paid.
Yeah.
He said, man, we had to finish or we get paid.
I need paid, Alan. Yeah.
Yeah, so we go grab him and go, man, we need to get paid.
That's what Mikey said. Alan said, are we paying you?
He worked for Hank Williams Jr. I'm sure he's got a lot of good stories about Junior.
Yeah.
So
he worked.
We get him back on. We'll drag him. We'll drag him in there. I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll get old what's his name in here who's an expert on interviewing and get him to interview old Mikey.
Well, he even told me that Mark Frank. He said, "How's Mark Franks doing?" I goes, I told him, I said, I guess he's, and told him what I knew, and he goes, "Yeah, Mark Frank had a PA at one time, and I helped him with his PA or something like that." I said, "Oh yeah, cool. Talk about that when you come back on the next podcast." So he's thinking about stuff to talk about on the part 2.
Yeah, that's going to be great. And what's cool is he knew Sally Arnold too. And, he explained what happened to Sally and why she left and how they were on her ass saying that she was spending their money and she wasn't even on the payroll. And that's how she was having to eat. And he was able to explain, a lot of stuff that we didn't know.
Yeah, I forgot about all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that was a long time ago, too.
Technical issues with that stuff. Yeah, I used to know it, but after he said it, I went, "Yeah, oh God, yeah, I remember that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Ronnie 5129, he says, you're talking about Craig had to clean Ronnie's face off so he could hit him.
Clean off your face so I could hit you again.
Yeah, old Mikey.
Well, that damn Dave, something happened and he wanted my drugs, and he knew where my drugs were, and he grabbed my drugs, and I had to pop him a few times too. Then they both left.
Well, all you guys were just, and then he said Gary used to like to jump in on the fight. If he found somebody was fighting,
oh yeah, they
what's
wanted
going
to get
on,
in
man?
on it.
And he would jump in on the fight.
Well, that thing that happened in Louisville when Joe Barnes tackled that Tycho Bray sound guy, because Ronnie he didn't like the sound monitor, so Ronnie took his foot and was pushing the cones of the speaker, and so the Tycho Bray guy got pissed off. It was unplugging stuff, and it was going around to the other side of the stage, and Joe ran across and tackled the guy, and they were back behind the amp line fighting. And then I ran back there, and Ronnie seen me take off, and he went, "Oh, excuse us," and told the crowd, "Excuse us, or we're gonna go help out the crew back here. They're in a fight," and they quit playing, and all went back and joined in.
And Gary jump in on it?
Yeah, the whole band put all down their guitars. He came back and got in on it. And it was in Louisville. And the crowd, right in front of the crowd, they just, "Oh, excuse us, we're going to help the crew here." And they just put down their stuff and come back and got in the fight with us.
That's hilarious, because you know Gary, he doesn't seem like a fighter, man. And then when he finds out somebody's fighting, he's like, "Are they fighting? Let me in on that one." Those guys are crazy, man.
Oh yeah, that's what I said when Artimus got into it in London with that police boxing team, and he ran in there, and all they had Artimus. There was, I don't know how many of them had Artimus, just beating the shit out of him. And I saw what was going on. I just thought, man, I ain't getting in on that. That's like, And then Gary and Alan come running down, and they seen what was going on and started running toward it. And I goes, "You guys don't want no part of that."
No, you get your ass beat.
And Gary didn't listen to me, and he got grabbed by the hair, and he he got popped. Yeah, he was bleeding, and Alan got popped and took off running. But yeah, Gary got grabbed and held down and punched a bunch of times. Yeah, he got his hair pulled out. I tried to tell him, I said, "Man, you guys don't want no part of this." But they didn't listen. It happened so quick. It happened so quick. I mean, it was like Artimus was getting his ass beat, and Gary and Alan come running down. I was seeing the whole thing, and they come running down and seen it and wanted to get into it. And I goes, "You guys don't want to get involved in this one." And they didn't listen. And it was 2 seconds later, they were getting their ass beat.
I think it was Chad, your son, who told me the way Alan used to like to fight when he was a kid. He told Chad, he said, "Knock the shit out of him as many times as you can, and then just run like hell." That was his lesson to Chad on how to fight.
Something to that effect.
And then that time he was with Mike Owings. Remember, Mike was on the podcast, and they were driving over the bridge, and Mike Owings was driving, and Alan was sitting beside him, and Alan just reaches over and slaps the shit out of Mike for no reason. And Mike goes, "Why did you do that?" And he goes, "I just want to see what you do." And then he said he stopped the car and got out. And he said, and then Alan rolled his window up, and he says, "You're getting ready to be a free bird, you son of a bitch, right over the side of this bridge."
Oh God.
Yeah, you guys got to go watch that Mike Owings interview, man. He's another one.
Yeah, we got to get him back on too.
Yeah, he's another one we got to get back on. To me, when I'm around Mike Owings, I think that's like one of the closest guys you can be to how Alan was, because he's just got that crazy freaking look in his eye. You can tell when you look at Mike Owings in the eye, you see he ain't all there, man. He's like, a crazy son of a bitch, kind of like Manson. He's got that Manson look in his eye, you know, like you don't want to mess around with him.
He beat Pops with the F bombs, I think.
Yeah, yeah. But we don't care. We don't
Oh
care,
no.
man. Yeah, then we got Ray Cox. The interview confirmed lots of stories and told some we never heard before. Yeah, he definitely got some new ones in there. There's some Stone Roadie exclusives in there, like the Tuesday's Gone thing, and then about Alan when he was told about his wife dying, and that's all brand new skin formation right there.
Yeah, the green pig. That's what happens to
Yeah,
cars that from the beach, man. They just they
yeah.
get ate up with the salt. There's
And the
there's
fact
no
that Ronnie
floorboard.
picked him up hitchhiking,
That's
and then
that's you know what? That's like I
that's
said.
just
That's just too
crazy.
much of a coincidence to be a
Yeah,
coincidence.
but how
And
cool.
Mikey said, I've thought the same thing. The way I've just kind of ran into those people. It was just meant to be.
Then Kagi was Kent Griffith, and Kent Griffith. You guys go in there and look at Kagi. He's got like a whole page of stuff, but it's good. It's good information. You want to read it on the comments. I can't read all of it. It'd take too long, but he says Mikey held back on Leon's injuries from the plane crash, and he says, I'll finish it. Uh, Leon's guts were basically ripped out, you know? So, yeah, Joe Crimp told me, man, he said Leon was jacked up, man, whenever and I guess he never healed from that. And he continued to have issues. And Jane Van Zant, actually, she was around Leon a little bit and told me that, that he had some issues, from the accident that never really healed. And, he used to have like bathroom issues and stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah, he always peed on the stage. He'd be playing and Leon would disappear and he'd be over pissing somewhere.
yeah. So, well, that's all the comments and questions, Craig. So we can go ahead and wrap it up. And you guys, if you're interested in any of this Hell House wood, that disc that Craig has, the vest, this little article is Lynyrd Skynyrd's autograph, Gene's blue book. Get in touch with me and Craig or me, and I'll put my email up there in the beginning there, and let us know, and we'll work with you on some prices.
Yeah, there's how to
So,
get a hold of me and my email or my post office box number. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can hold me there. And yeah,
yeah. So,
so
so happy Wednesday, right? Wednesday
yeah,
morning.
and
Hump
happy
day. Hump
hump
day.
day, hump day. And yeah, happy trails to you until we meet again. And see you later, alligator, at the wild crocodile. And we'll call that a wrap and cut.